You wanted to talk to me? Of course. Is there anything in particular that you would like to discuss? Well, as you have been so kind, I guess you are entitled to know a little about me. I was born in a place called Solstheim, northwest of Morrowind. My mother was an alchemist, and she taught my sister and I how to use herbs. When my sister moved to Vivek to open a shop, I came with her. I don't have her skills in alchemy, but at least I could help her a little. That's a long story, a story about love. Maybe I'll tell you some other time, when I know you better. Talk later.
Farewell, citizen.
Anything I can do for you? Of course. All right, I give in. I tell you some more. You were curious of how I ended up in Cyrodiil, right? When I was staying in Vivek with my sister, I learned to know a Nord warrior, Runar. He was ever so sweet, and I fell in love with him. I thought he fell in love with me too. Silly, wasn't it? When he returned to his home in the Imperial City, he said he would write to me, that he wanted me to come here and marry him. Well, time passed, and I didn't hear from him. I wrote, but he never replied. I thought something had happened to him, so I went here to find out. And something had indeed happened. The bastard was married already, and had 3 children. I felt so ashamed that I had let myself be fooled by him. Therefore, I didn't want to go back to Vivek and face my sister, so I stayed in Cyrodiil. Look, I don't feel like talking more right now. Maybe later, when we have known each other a little longer. There are so many books I'd like to read, but nowadays I don't even have time to read my own diary. Have I got freckles? I hate freckles. Wouldn't it be nice to just talk a little, you and I? You're really curious, aren't you? All right, as you wish. Now, let's see. Where were we? Oh, yes. I told you that I decided to stay in Cyrodiil, as it would have been too embarrassing to go back to Vivek and tell my sister what had happened. Instead, I went to Bruma, where I got work as a castle servant. The work was horrible. Most of the time I spent scrubbing floors. Have you ever been to the Bruma castle? The floors are so cold. Sometimes there will be an icy surface on the stones when I had scrubbed them. One day there was a visitor, a fine, gracious lady, who slipped on the icy stones and almost fell. I managed to catch her. She said I had saved her life, and then she offered me to work as a personal maid. She was living in Skingrad, so I went there with her. Alas, the lady was old and fragile. A few months later, she got ill and died, and I had to find a new way to make my living. But let's not talk about that now. Maybe some other time. Now we should be moving on, shouldn't we? Sure. I think I have a problem. Some of the ingredients I need to collect are very difficult to recognize, and Melinda's descriptions aren't that good. Yes, I know there exists a book called Tamriel Flora Illustrated with pictures of various rare flowers and ingredients. I suppose it must be for sale in some of the better bookstores, so it would be great if you help me to look for it. We need to find that book as soon as possible. Until I have it, I won't be able to find all the ingredients. Goodbye.
I'm Phintius, owner and proprietor of the first edition. Look around. If I don't have it, maybe I can get it. Let's do business. Thank you for your business. Good day.
Did you find the book? What have you got there? Let me see. Tamriel Flora Illustrated. How wonderful! Thank you ever so much. Anytime. I'm a bit thirsty. I wouldn't mind a drink. Wouldn't it be nice to just talk a little, you and I? All right. I told you before that I ended up in Skingrad, and that the lady I worked for died. I managed to get a new work as an assistant to Falanu at All Things Alchemical in Skingrad. Alas, this didn't turn out well. Falanu disliked me from start, and then she accused me of some ugly things. I was really unhappy. It was a relief when she fired me. I started to work in the wine production. It was quite fun, especially smashing the grapes with my bare feet. But me and some other workers also enjoyed trying out the new wines. Let's just say that our employer didn't particularly like that. The surroundings of Skingrass are quite lovely, don't you think so? I could spend hours just wandering around collecting ingredients. You do know that the flax seeds are quite useful, don't you? One can make really good potions of feather from them. With potions of feather one can easily carry quite a lot of extra weight. Oh, I got potion here, by the way. It's for you. Try it. Goodbye. How may I help you? Of course. Sometimes I feel bad about having such a good time here, while my sister is suffering in the Vivek prison. Poor Melinda. She is very good at mixing potions, but when it comes to doing business, she's so scatterbrained. She would trust anyone who wanted to do business with her, like this shady Khajiit that she bought the devastating ingredients from. I feel so bad about that I wasn't there at the time. If I had been, I would for sure have stopped her from doing such a horrible mistake. Now I feel that I have to do everything in my power to help her out of her current situation. Oh, I just hope that I will be able to help her. Goodbye. You think you can beat me? Go ahead! Wouldn't it be nice to just talk a little, you and I? I've told you about my time in Skingrad, didn't I? Well, after that I travelled to Anvil. I thought that sea breeze would do me good. I could work as a barmaid at the Count's Arms, and I liked it fairly well, although Wilbur's bad jokes can be a bit hard to cope with. And then I fell in love, seriously and eternally. Hey, don't look at me like that. I'm talking about Bruce, my horse. I found him at the Horse Whisperer's stable, and it was love at first sight. I often went there to feed him with carrots. There was, however, a problem with Bruce, which was the reason he hadn't been sold. It was impossible to put a saddle on his back. Each time the stable owner tried, Bruiser would kick and bite and go berserk. Finally, the stable owner got tired of this and decided to kill him. I begged him to instead give the horse to me. He said no. Then I offered to buy Bruiser, and this he accepted. But, of course, I hadn't got the money. I worked extra as a cleaning lady at both the Mages Guild and Fighters Guild until I had 2,000 gold. Other white horses cost 4,000 gold, but as Bruiser was considered as useless, I got him for half that sum. Once Bruiser was mine, I quickly found out why he refused the saddle. It turned out that he was ticklish, and that's why he went berserk. And once I've understood that, there were no further problems. I just put the saddle on with very firm hands. Goodbye. Hi, guess what? I made a potion for you. I hope you like it. Of course. It does make a difference to have a horse, doesn't it? With Bruiser, I have traveled over big areas in Cyrodiil. We left Anvil and traveled all the way up to Chorrol. That is a nice place, don't you think so? In Chorrol I was hired by Rena and Rimaldus Brian to help them look after their dogs, Bailey and Cassoon. Especially Bailey is a sweetheart. If you feed him with meat, he will bow and thank you. Cassoon is a bit dumb and drawling all the time. Rena is spoiling them completely. Their food was better than ours. She could serve us sausage and potatoes, whereas the dogs, they got calf fillet with herb sauce and mushrooms. One day I couldn't resist any further. We had had potato soup for supper, and the dogs were eating tornado. When Rena wasn't looking, I snatched a slice of their food. That was, however, a mistake. The dog started to bark angrily, and Rena instantly appeared. I was still chewing. Guess what happened? I got fired for stealing dog food. Isn't that ridiculous? After Chorrol, we continued to Shadinall. We took the road over Ailswell. From Ailswell you get the most wonderful view over the city. We continued to Shadinall. It's a pretty town, don't you think so? I worked for a little while at Newland's Lodge, but then I got restless. And then one day the letter from Melinda arrived, and I realized that I had to find a way to help her. Talk later.
Find me as soon as you've located Jaskar. My name is Selena Arania. You too.
Wouldn't it be nice to just talk a little, you and I? I've always loved animals. In Solstheim, I had a tame wolf, Hagbard. I got him already when he was a little puppy. You see, my father had been out hunting, and then he found both Hagbard and his mum in a trap hole. His mum was badly injured. Dad had to shoot her. But little Hagbard was not injured at all, so he brought the puppy home with him. Oh, how I adored him. He was so tiny. I had to feed him with milk. But he grew fast, and as he got older he became my steady companion. Wherever I went, Hagbard was at my side. Then one day, when he was 7 years old, he disappeared. I searched the forest for him for many, many days. Finally I found him, dead. He had been shot with poisoned arrows. Oh, how I wished that I had found him earlier. Maybe I could have saved his life. I never had another dog. Well, wolf, I mean. As I told you, I moved with my sister to Vivek, and that's hardly a place for pets. But if you would like the idea, I surely wouldn't mind having a dog or some other pet. Talk later.
1, 2, 3, and...